Well, hey everybody, thanks for joining me. It's Tammy, and today I've got some cute things on my desk. I'm gonna make some postcards from scratch. I'm putting a boho theme on the back to go with my latest journal that I'm making, and then we'll make a faux vintage postage letter that even looks like it's been through the mail, and some stamps that have been ripped off of an envelope from someone that has kept them over time. So let's get started. First, I'm gonna make my postcards with a letter size cream cardstock, and I'm just gonna cut this into 4 equal parts. Here's some examples of postcards that I've made already, and I have silicone stamps. That's what I'm doing this with, and I'm using regular office type ink. So I've just got these various silicone stamps that I have either got at Dollar Tree or online, and then I've got one of these acrylic blocks for it. Just regular office ink, not distressing, because I want it to be, a nice black saturated color. So I've done these a few different ways. Well, this is my least favorite part, putting on the straight border, and it's probably because there's glare off my block, which kind of makes it hard to see if I'm doing it straight. But these are handmade, they're not factory made. So I'm just going to pretend that they're supposed to be not perfect. And when I get to my end here, my stamp is longer. So I've just been putting a piece of paper under it so that I can run my lines across, because you don't want to stop. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, not perfect. I can just use the excuse that I have bad eyesight, right? I am technically visually impaired, and I do kind of need to have my face a little closer to this postcard than I can when I'm filming. So yes, you'll just have to forgive me. Just do the best we can with what we've got. So I'm going to then put in the word postcard. I'm going to use this little one in here, that one, and then I'm going to use this prepaid kind of stamp because I remember once upon a time when you could buy postcards that actually had the postage paid on them, and it seems like the latest ones I've ever bought, you have to buy a stamp for it, but I don't know, I'm probably dating myself. And then I want to put the border around the word postcard. So it doesn't really matter which side I do. How about let's go in with this one that says paid. I'm going to do the lines after, or sort of in the middle or after. Okay. Then I'm going to do something. I'm going to do my lines down the center. I'm going to go with the ruler. I don't want to tempt fate right now, because I feel like if I try something else, it's going to be kind of crooked. So I'm going to go a little bit left of center for my address side. I hope that my pen works good enough. Yep. So I filmed all this yesterday, and I was doing it in just a quiet way, and I thought I'll do a voiceover after, because I hadn't really done voiceovers. So I thought that sounds good. I'll do that. And then I looked at the footage today and I was trimming it down, and then I was like, oh my gosh. I felt like Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings when he's in the mines of Moria and he says, I have no memory of this place. Because I was watching what I was doing and I was like, I have no idea what I was going to say or what I was going to do then, and it's too slow, it's too fast. Then I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say, and it's like, wait, I'm not done yet. She's already on to the next thing. So I learned, you know what, I don't think voiceover is for me at this moment, and that's fine. We learn these things as we go, don't we? Okay, so I'm liking how that's looking. Oh yeah, and then I think I want to, so I'm going to draw my lines. I can do, see this one has just the lines there, no lines, or I've done them with lines on both. So I think I'll just do this one with only the lines on the left side. And I'm again doing the best I can to make this straight. I think it looks okay. And I have the cutest little stamp that says 2 on it. So I'm going to put that on after I do these. I'm going to put at least 1, maybe 2 of these in my Clara's Boho journal that I'm getting close to the end of. And I'll leave a link to the playlist for that if you want to follow along with that. And I'm also going to have some just available for the next project that I do, because I will decorate the back and you can have anything you want on the back. It's just gonna be like artsy collagey. I'm not gonna try to make it say what city it's from or anything. That would just, that would be way too complicated, and I don't think it would look very good in the end. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this little number thing. It's kind of cute. That will go at the bottom just because, just for something interesting to look at. And then let's find our tiny little 2. There it is. And I have to just put a little bit of ink on this and tap it fairly gently, because the first time I smushed it down and then you couldn't even really see what it said. There. Perfect. Well, this is looking really cute. So I think I'll call that one good. And then on the back, oh, I started another one and it was crooked. Let's write this one out. So this is to Clara St. Clair from her cousin George, and Clara lives in Victoria, Canada in 1905. That's the journal that this is pertaining to. So that doesn't really look like my handwriting exactly, but this is how I imagine her cousin writes. The last thing I want to do on this for now is cancel out this stamp. So I've got a few things here. I can't even really, oh, I think I used this one, yeah. I'd have to get my magnifying glass out to tell you what these say on them. So hopefully it's, fine, and it doesn't say, some of them say something weird, or they have the date is like way in the future of that, but because this is just fantasy, we can do that and we don't mind. Okay, that looks cute. course, let's age this up. Then let's take some splatters too, because, you know, this would have been in mail bags and in Clara's journal. Like that. And I'm going to do another boho collage on the back of this because it's for my boho journal. And I'm going to force myself to not do strips and straight lines. I want to be using pieces up because this is sort of a final collage piece of, as I get to the end of the journal that I'm making, I want to imagine that they're using up scraps and things that they've amassed. So I don't want it to just be nice straight lines. Sometimes you just have to kind of shake yourself out of, or I do anyway, out of just doing the same style. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I think this is gonna go good. And I'm gonna use my little tacky glue, which I find works well. You can use some good kind of glue or fabric glue, just as long as you know and trust that it will stick. I don't mind a little bit of movement, but of course I don't want my fabrics to come off. Maybe I'll get rid of this. I don't mind this having some lift to it, so I'm not going to be super concerned about every little bit being stuck down, because then it will make it seem like it's a little bit older. You know, I don't know how long the adhesive and glue would hold, 120 years. I don't have anything that old personally, not that I can think of. We'll cover up my little beginning mistake there. Look at that. You'd never even know it was there. Cute. I think I'm gonna need a tiny bit more right there. Let's see if I can rip that on an angle. Almost. Let's just cut that. I will lay this under my cutting mat after this is done, just for a little while for it to dry and flatten out a bit. Although it doesn't dry super well under there, but you you know what I mean. All right, there we have two really cute boho style vintage antique looking postcards. Let's move on next to correspondence, a letter that maybe actually was written, and then these canceled stamps. And this is a tea-dyed envelope from my squirt bottle, and I tea-dyed another one, and look, some of the tea bag must have broken open, and I thought, you know what, that's okay. I'm gonna go with this. Like, that looks pretty cool for spraying some tea dye. So the first thing I'm gonna do on my envelope is I'm going to glue the flap shut, because it would have been sent in the mail and it would have been sealed. And so I'll seal it, and then I'll open it later, like I have this one, like it's been opened with a letter opener. And I rescued out of the garbage this World Stamp album, and I think this is maybe from the 1970s or 1980s, and you know, it was gonna go in the garbage. So someone has actually used this, and it looks like they've collected a lot of stamps, but they took them all out before they threw this in the garbage. But that's okay, because you know, I'm just using these. Okay, so I've got my couple of stamps cut out of my book, and then I will take my stamp scissors, and of course the stamps are black and white, but I have a couple of ink pads that I used, and I just put a tiny dab of color on these, and you know, makes them look at least like they're not completely black and white. These are actually stamps from China, but you know, I imagine this traveling cousin might have gotten some stamps around different places, right? And he might have mailed letters from different places as well. Okay, we've got our stamp on there, and then let's just do one more of these, which I'm just imagining she's kept some letters or envelopes, or just rip the stamps off. I mean, I've done that. Kept cool stamps. So because this is going to be from an envelope, we want the stamp, the cancellation stamp side. So I'll just pretend that I pulled this off an envelope, top and bottom, with a little room on this side. So let's use this one. I don't know what it says, and it might not even be right side up, but that's okay, because I've seen things come out of the mail and they're not stamped the right way up when they go through the machines. Looks pretty good. And then let's just do one more of that other one that we did that kind of goes out to the side, and we'll do it like that. It's just so fun to make something look, you know, realistically old when it's not. I know when I first looked at this style, I just fell in love with it. I'm just going to pretend now that someone's gone in with their letter opener. I don't have a letter opener anymore. Okay, I've got my envelope open, and I'm going to put some goodies in there when I work on my Clara's journal page next. But what is a letter that comes in the mail without a letter in the envelope? So I've done some handmade letters. I've put this on some nice sketchbook paper that I have from a brand new pad. I tea stained this with my squirt bottle full of steep tea, and I dry it out on my patio in the sun, and it dries quite fast. And then I've written a letter from December 1904. I've aged it up with some distress ink, and that can go in my journal in an envelope. And then I've got another letter that I've done up, 2 pages, and this handwriting is different than my own, which makes it kind of fun. And one more little letter that can go in this envelope. And that'll do it for now. We'll see you next time.